Transformation in 3, 2, 1.
So we're back at our friends at Lavington Lakes. Now if you look back, if you can be bothered, if you're bored, if you look back at a video we did here, this is what we call the scaffold pole lake. And we removed how many?
600
yeah,
plus.
over 600 scaffold poles out of this lake with a digger, which the club years and years ago, many years ago, they put scaffold poles in to try and protect the bank erosion. And first time I came I said, well, I've got to be honest, it's not really working because the water just goes behind them. They put like a teram in, lots and lots of backfilling with bits of wood and stuff. So I put it to them, if it was mine, I'd do what we do. And we had a digger in here. There's a good video actually of us doing it, but this is why we do it, because if you pan around here as we walk round, all of this was just scaffold poles. There was no vegetation in any of the margins at all. This is 1 year's growth, okay? 1 year's growth. So we came here last summer and we did all the prep work, graded all the banks back, took all the undercuts away, which were considerable. The banks weren't in the best of states. There's a lot of soft falling apart. So instantly, by doing that, we've rectified the bank erosion. But then, if all you do is try and backfill and all that, it's no good. So then we put, I don't know how many plants, 3,000 maybe?
Yeah.
And the banks are quite sheer as well, which makes it a bit tricky because there's lots of loose backfill and all this. So you scrape all that back, get it all out of the way. Took a few little trees down, which were just going to fall in anyway. Not short of trees around here. And planted it all up. So now, instead of no vegetation, it's amazing all the way round. So there's a lot of work, 600 odd scaffold poles taken out, grade the banks and plant them. This is why we do it. And all right, we can come and do all the work and plant them, but the club then have to keep the birds off them for a while. Every now and then they'll pluck a few out, so they go and fill in gaps. But this is just 1 year. Did this last summer, and now it's November and it looks great. So you imagine another summer's growth. This will all be thick fringed plants. And like I say, this is what they had another digger driver in here they were going to put a swim in here, but it's really undercut. So they're now swim building. And they build the swims just like we do. So in my opinion, it's transformed the lake. Completely fringed, all plants. There was a big dead tree over there, planted all the way around that. There's a nice mix of all our normal plants. And it will have massively improved the water quality in the next 2 or 3 years. We do bang on about it all the time, but this is why. Because when a club takes it to this degree and does it properly and invests wisely in it, this is what you can achieve. What we keep going on about. Beautiful bank. This was all totally knackered and overgrown. Like I say, it's only 1 year's growth. We use our own plants, mature marginal plants, and the boys do a cracking job planting them for us in the summer. Like this corner was dead, it was just black in here. There's trees fell in, all sorts of crap. So you've actually increased the water volume, increased everything. Really impressed with it all. It's absolutely fantastic. Really, really pleased. And it just, now you get another year's worth, it'll be absolutely beautiful. But again, like we say, that's not the reason we're doing it. We're not doing it to make it look pretty. That's just another bonus, really. But why wouldn't you do this? I don't understand. Just get it like this. It's a functional fishery, better habitat. Yes, you take a few trees out, but look what you're replacing it with. It's perfect. And this is what I think fisheries should be aiming towards. It's not about constantly putting fish in. It's about managing your stocks and doing this sort of stuff, and the results speak for themselves. So we're very impressed, and fair play to the club for taking it all on board, really. And then this lake, we've netted this in the past, and the small fish which we're trying to get out just live under the banks. It's not so bad up here. It's a beautiful lake, it's a really nice site, but further down here around the island and at the very far end, there's so many places that you could lose £300 or £400 of silvers in. This time they've drained the water down, and so we've got a much better chance of taking some silvers out now, which we can legitimately move to a small pond around the corner. So we're doing 2 sweeps on here. This is very shallow here, so I've shot this round here. People say, oh, what about fish getting around here? But there's all lily roots around here, so I can walk out there, and then I'm going to block channels off and do 2 sides, because the islands always present a bit of an issue, but it's all positive stuff. So nice shallow margins now. You can see this is where most of the silvers used to hide, all under these banks. There's various in different undercuts and on the island, and you're talking about this sort of size fish. So yeah, we've got 200 metres in there. It's very shallow where Chip is, isn't it? Like, it goes straight up on a little shelf, so there's no fish getting past there. And then we shot that as a blocker down here, and then another one up there, and then later on when we landed this, we'll switch, do that side, because then we're doing a sweep down the bank, so we can drag the nets, get everything down the bank. So yeah, it's all good.
There are a lot of little ropes in there.
So yeah, grading silvers, and then moving the better quality ones, putting a few bream in the stock pond, better quality fish.
Ones like that going down the road.
These you don't need, you've got millions of them. Grading some bream out from the stock pond, they grow in under there. With the net, the stock pond's netted off so the cormorants can't eat them. It's all good stuff. Plenty left. It's only the first sweep this side, there's more that side I'm sure.
It's the result of the stock pond. Lovely job. Going back in it.
Also, can't emphasise enough how important it is, wherever possible, to get the water down. We take it for granted, we do it all the time, but we'd always drain it. If you're trying to do a proper carp removal, get the water down. If you've got tons of silvers, get the water down wherever possible, because they'll live under there. They'll just this. People say, they won't all sit under there. When they're that big, they will. And you think it's all around the lake. Oh, he's not very well, that duck. So you manage all the way around here, the whole lake, the islands. Even though some of the undercuts don't look terrible, £200 or £300 of fish sit under there, no problem. And they do. And people think you just kick them out, but they come out and go straight back in again. It's the reality of what happens. So you get the water down like this, makes all the difference. You're going to pay to get us in, we try and do the best of what we can. Obviously we splash them if you can't get the water down. But ultimately you always catch more. You don't have to drain it and empty it. People are quite scared to drain lakes, but I don't know why. It's good for a water change, and nowadays we don't struggle for water, it's flooded most of the time. This is very good to highlight why we don't like junkers. Whenever people plant junkers, and it self-seeds a lot of fisheries, and I don't like it as a plant because it does this. It sits in clumps, doesn't spread very well. I don't think it's as good as using other plants. So it just does that. It will sit in its own little clump and end up falling in the bank. We see that a lot. It's not isolated. You know, we see this a lot. The only thing that's holding that is that one little stick, branch thing. See, I'd replace all this, but like I say, plenty of plants around this lake, and now there is down the other one. So if you can get the water down, get it down. That's what you're doing yesterday. This is the fourth sweep, same again, loads of fish. Would have taken out probably £900 of silvers, which this lake really needed. And we really struggle to catch the silvers when it's full because of the things that there's loads in it. Now there's a load of carp as well, but we've already taken 3 binfuls out. A lot better quality fish underneath them, but they just need a chance to thrive a bit better. So yeah, impressive. So this was the final part on this lake, really, to start to realise the potential of the lake, because we've just removed, God knows how many, I don't know. It genuinely is over, what do we have, 5, 6, 7, 8, good 900 plus pounds of just bits like this. We've put easy £400 of pound plus bream, tench, some big crucians, loads of big roach. It's really good. And by creating that space, then they'll now start to see what can really be achieved just by doing that. Not just by doing that, it's about everything. And they do feed them, because the carp haven't really grown in the last few years much, and they're quite long and lean, but you can see why, because there's so many silvers in there. But by now, creating the space, it's just really coming on leaps and bounds. But when you can get to grips with it, and it needed lowering because it's just a nightmare. But now, if you remove that amount of fish from any lake, within 12 months you'll see a difference. And anglers tend to think, oh no, taking fish out is counterproductive, because that means there's less bites. And when there's lakes like this sort of size and this sort of density as a club water, it doesn't work like that. It really doesn't. And the more that people do it and see it, it's all very well me telling them, but they have to see it for themselves. And when they do, like with the stock pond here, that's when it's like a light bulb moment. They go, oh right, okay. And suddenly you can really progress. It doesn't matter what sort of fishing, don't care about that. It doesn't matter match fishing, I don't know, but it's about understanding what's going on with the stock. And yes, sometimes you have to manipulate it. It doesn't always mean taking fish out, but a lot of the time it means creating space. and it's really good now because they're all clubbing together and cracking on, and they're going to reap the benefits. It's loads of good roach, but again, in a year's time, that space created will be put on by the small carp that are stocked, but as well, good stocks of roach, bream, tench, crusions. It's a genuinely mixed fishing lake now. It's absolutely brilliant. We'll try and remove some silvers, of which there's lots. Yeah, boy. And that's why we use the fine mesh wherever we can. It's a bugger because it digs in the mud. When you can get out what you need, it's amazing. There's about £900 more silvers in there. All good stuff. By creating space in the top lake this morning, we've then moved quality silvers out of this lake into there. That's really sensible fishing management. You create space where it's needed, and with probably 10% of the weight that we took out, we put back in. So there's plenty of space out there now. So you've got quality roach, loads of. Mainly they're sort of 10-inch to. Most of them are 10-inch to half a pound. There's the odd 3/4 pound. There's one or two over a pound and a half. So yeah, really good. Got a lot done. But I just can't get over this. Like I say, the whole thing. Can't really zoom in with this. But the whole lake. The only ones we couldn't pull out. These poles. The video's crazy, but these poles were in. They're ridiculous. They're 15-foot poles, and they're right in the clay. And these are the only ones we couldn't get out with the digger because they wanted to keep them treated. But the whole lake was like this. The whole thing, all the way around. I still can't get over how good. Well, I know it is because we've done it. We sort of told you to do it. But the whole lake was like that, and now it's like that. Quite a challenge, it's quite a difference. Yeah, look, there's none of this before. So we're quite pleased with taking it all on board. And that's it, we're done. Tomorrow we're off to Manchester.